All right. Got a lot of NFL to talk about. Week 3 is now behind us as we look ahead to week 4. Quick little thing I had to touch on before we get into the proceedings. Colorado football this weekend. I was watching the game. We're down 31-24. I was with a good friend of mine. He's like, oh, that's it. You're going to lose. Baylor misses the field goal. Colorado ends up marching down the field. I thought the game was over. On a Hail Mary pass, hits, can't remember who it was, in the chest, and it's incomplete. Now there's only 2 seconds on the clock. It's going to take a miracle. Shedeur Sanders delivers. We go to overtime, and then we score in overtime first. Baylor gets the ball, fumbles on their what would have been a touchdown to tie it up. And Travis Hunter recovers it, throws it out of the end zone. Student section rushes the field early, which is always fun to see, in my opinion. I thought that was funny. And, yeah, just absolute pandemonium. I guess the thing with Colorado is, I don't think I 100% agree with some of the things that went on, both Deion and Shedeur. But it is exceptionally entertaining for me to be a fan of the Colorado Buffaloes. It's always win or lose. It's always entertaining. People keep tweeting out the Pete Weber, love me or hate me, you watched. And that's a fun thing about Colorado is they always keep me entertained. So I still think we're definitely in contention for the Big 12 championship. I think we could power our way to it. Not exactly the strongest team, but we do have, I think, the best duo in college football. Like as far as you said, top 2 players on every team, I think there is no team in college football that is a better top 2 than Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. I think there's a real chance those are the top 2 picks in the NFL draft, which is completely crazy to me. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. That was great. Now we look ahead towards next week where I actually can't remember who we play, so I'm going to have to look that up to see who they play next. Okay, so this week we're going to play UCF at 3:30. Yeah, we should win that. I have no concern. We definitely should win that. Come on, guys. Right? Yeah, come on. All right. Let's get into the NFL. Obviously, we got a lot to talk about. Okay, here we go. So, first thing. The Carolina Panthers. My Carolina Panthers are 1-2 on the year. We have the same record as the Baltimore Ravens. Same record as the Cleveland Browns. We have a better record than the Cincinnati Bengals. So, just want to point all these things out to everyone. Yeah, the Carolina Panthers 1-2. So what happened? To be perfectly honest, I think I was right. As in, Bryce Young was really bad. Andy Dalton was the correct move. I had some guys say to me, oh, well, that's how it always is. You're throwing a backup. He overperforms. We won't know for a couple weeks, how good. Whatever, dude. Make up all the excuses you want. Clearly, we played like an entirely different team. I mean, Chuba Hubbard had a great game. That has nothing to do with Andy Dalton. I mean, maybe a couple because some of them were little dump-off passes. But the whole team was playing better. The defense played better. It's like having Bryce out made the whole team believe in winning. And if that's the case, I mean, we got big issues of Bryce. I honestly thought the team looked really strong. I do think this division is still up for grabs. We'll talk about that more when I get to the other teams in the division. We got stuff to talk about. So, to me, I'm really happy with the way the Panthers look. Next week, we play an 0-3 Bengals team that's going to be really pissed and really looking for a win. And I honestly think we can win again because Andy Dalton's going to have weird mojo where it's like, obviously he very famously was Cincinnati's quarterback for a very long time. So he's going to have that, extra energy to it. And I like our odds next week. I really do. Against the Cincinnati team, they just looked toothless last night. It's like they're the Cowboys of the AFC, where it's, you have an elite wide receiver, a really good quarterback, and a really good defensive end, and that's it. It's like your rest of your roster is bad. The only thing that makes the Cowboys worse than the Bengals is that at least the Bengals have T. Higgins. Cowboys don't even have a T. Higgins level guy. So to me, they're both built that same way, where it's, okay, we have 3 stars, Bengals have 4, and then everything else is bad. And if you look at the good teams, like to me, there's 4 teams that can win the Super Bowl: the Texans, the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Lions. They're all spread talent. I think the only one you would argue are like a little more star heavy are the Texans, but that's because they got Diggs. They were able to get Diggs because they have a lot of money to spend because Nico and CJ are still on rookie deals. In a couple years, it's just going to be Nico, CJ. Maybe not even Tank Dell anymore. I'm assuming they'd keep Tank Dell. I mean, CJ Stroud loves Tank Dell, but Stephon Diggs will not be there much longer. You know, it might be here for a couple years, and then when it's time to pay people, he'll be gone. So I'm saying you look at the Lions, you look at the Chiefs, you look at why am I blanking? Bills. They're all okay. We have a quarterback we believe can elevate talent. That's the Chiefs and Bills, and we're gonna spread the wealth around and have like some really good guys, some solid guys. We might not have like a ton of star power, but overall the team will be quality, and that's the way the really good teams in my mind are all approaching building teams. And I don't think the Bengals have that approach. I don't think the Cowboys have that approach. And I think that's why they're built the way they are, and that's why I think the Panthers have a really good chance to beat them next week. It's a 1 o'clock game. Very excited. I didn't make it marquee matchup, but to me it is. I honestly think it'd be an interesting game because I know none of you guys are watching the Panthers because why would you? Well, I thought we were quite watchable last week and quite fun. Like, we didn't just beat the Raiders. We played really well. And the other thing is everybody was saying, stuff about our O-line. We defended Max Crosby incredibly well. Like one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. I don't think anyone's going to argue with me. He's a top 5 pass rusher. I'd say it's like top 5 is Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, him, Aiden Hutchinson. That's probably the top 5. Maybe you want to put Nick Bosa in there instead. Maybe you push Crosby out to 6. Okay, whatever you want to do. He's still really good. And I think he got 1 sack, maybe 2. So the offensive line for the Panthers is clearly better than it was last year. Apparently we're bringing in like a sports psychologist to work with Bryce. My argument is this. If by the end of the season, Bryce Young is not the starting quarterback, we should draft somebody new, regardless of our record. Let's say Andy Dalton goes on a Joe Flacco run and we make the playoffs. We win the division, right? We start, 0-2 and we end 9-8, right? If that is really the case, and that's what happens, I'm still drafting a quarterback late first round. We probably won't be able to get Cam Ward, but if there's a prospect you like, I would pounce on it because we're not going to rock with Andy Dalton next year. Are we just going to take some other team's scraps? Like, are we going to take Sam Darnold? Because the Vikings aren't going to run with him next year. No matter how well he does, JJ's going to start eventually, probably next year. And JJ's going to pop right into there and do quite well. So to me, if Bryce isn't, by the end of the year, clearly the next starter, we should be drafting somebody new. That is my thought. Cam Ward is actually so good, though, that you guys know I talked about him early on. I was like, from his first game against Florida, I was like, whoa, this dude's really good. And I, started following him heavy, and I want the Panthers to take him. Well, everybody's starting to notice Cam Ward being really good. He's actually probably, I think he probably is the betting favorite for Heisman at this point. I honestly think what's going to happen is they're probably going to go undefeated. You look at that Miami schedule, it's pretty easy. And they should win the ACC, and he should win Heisman, and that'll probably make him the first or second quarterback taken off the board. Probably second. I bet Shador goes 1. I've been talking about how I think Shador's going to be a Raider. There is a new team in my mind that has opened up as a potential Shador location, and that's the New York Giants. With Malik Neighbors popping off, I think Dion and him would be quite happy to pair him with Malik in New York. Then he can be like king of New York and all that, and so I do think there's a chance Shador goes to the Giants, being honest. I thought originally they wouldn't want that, but now that Malik Neighbors is really good and he's like the new Odell Beckham Jr., then I think they might be a little more accepting of that idea. So I do see that potentially coming. As far as the Panthers go, though, Xavier Legette looked better. Deontay Johnson looked better. Chuba Hubbard looked better. Like, the whole team just looked better. So I'm really excited. I think Canales, if we can do well with Dalton, I think that kind of proves partially some talent with Canales, which I think is good. And I'll see what he wants to do quarterback-wise for next year, I guess. As if he says, I want to, draft so-and-so. I want to do this. Great. As much as I would love to, as much as I believe in Cam Ward, there's no way in hell Tepper is going to let us trade up, given, the whole Bryce Young thing. My thing with Bryce Young is I would still love for him to be our franchise guy. That would be awesome if he is this, redemption, but I'm not banking on that. I'll wait until that happens, but I'm willing to bet that does not happen. So the Vikings beat the Texans. My thing with the Vikings is they're playing very well. I do think they're going to peter out eventually. I don't think they'll win that division. Really don't. I think the Packers and Lions are still better. Maybe they make the playoffs. They're frisky like that. I think what I said before, I think I said this last week, it's a really nice system, and J.J. McCarthy will come into that system and play really well next year. I don't think Sam Darnold's magically... he's playing... This is the best he's ever played. Don't get me wrong. He is playing quite well. Give him props. But a lot of it I do think is preset. I think Kevin O'Connell's kind of proving that he is a very strong coach in the NFL, and probably in a couple of years we're going to be putting him top 5. So credit to Kevin O'Connell. But that's kind of my thought process, is I don't really think it's Sam Darnold. I think it's Kevin O'Connell. I think it's the receivers they have, the scheme they're running, and that defense has been really strong. Give props to my boy Brian Flores, who's over there working on that defense. So, all right, the Commies balled out last night. Jaden Daniels made 2 passes to Terry McLaurin that made me jump up and down. I literally jumped out of my seat. I was sitting on a beanbag on the floor at RJ's, and I jumped up and screamed. And that's partially if my voice sounds a little weird on this podcast, is because we were all screaming watching that Bengals Commanders game, because they're a bunch of Browns fans, so I wanted to see the Bengals start off 0-3. And we were all kind of like, man, Jaden Daniels looks fun out there. And he was balling. I give him credit. My thing with Jaden Daniels is I do think he's got a very good chance to be the Commanders franchise QB. I think his ceiling is top 10, but he's 9 or 10. I don't ever think he'll be an MVP level guy that's elite on the level of a Lamar, Mahomes, and Allen. But I could see him being in that Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff, Brock Purdy tier, where you're a franchise guy and you can win a Super Bowl, but you're not exceptional like a Matt Stafford, and you're not elite like Mahomes and Allen. It's kind of my thought process. But granted, I say that after a 3-game sample size, and he played absolutely excellently last night. Absolutely excellently. This is also, I wanted to say, we were talking about Malik Neighbors earlier, potential generational wide receiver class. Neighbors might end up being the best in the class. I don't know if it's exactly a shocker. I remember there were some scouts really high on him. Giants might have lucked out in getting him, and then if they can turn around and draft Shedeur next year, it's wait a minute, this actually kind of worked out. Obviously, they really wanted to get Drake May, but kind of worked out for them potentially. Then you got Marvin Harrison Jr., who's obviously really good too on the Cardinals, but it's just Malik might be better. Then Brian Thomas Jr. I think is really good. Did not look good last night, but I also think Doug Peterson might be fired by midseason. I don't really know if it's Doug Peterson's fault, but that Jaguars team is terrible. I also really don't like their uniforms. They have teal, and they don't use it really in any cool ways. It's really bad, so I just don't like the Jaguars stuff at all. I don't know what's going on with Trevor Lawrence. I don't know what is happening. That team is bad, and he played terrible. The Jaguars I don't know what is going on over there. They looked awful last night, just absolutely abysmal. I don't even know what the move is, really. But Brian Thomas Jr., we've seen previous games look pretty good. Then you got Keon Coleman, who obviously got a first touchdown pass last night. He's looking pretty good. Adonai Mitchell, there's still hype about. We haven't seen him pop off, but there's still, excitement around him. Xavier Worthy, obviously, is interesting for the Chiefs. I think I'm forgetting someone else. There's another. Oh, Rome Odunze. Obviously, he played well last week, too. This just might be a generational wide receiver class. So, 2 to 3 elite guys. And, by the end of the year, Malik Neighbors might already be a top, 5 receiver if he continues this play. He's really good. And Marv might end the season, top 15, top 10. So that's crazy. Okay, next topic. Justin Fields played really well Sunday. I know the Steelers are 3-0 and they haven't exactly played any excellent teams, but Fields had a couple plays last week where he got to uncork it and he launched out some pretty nice throws. For a lot of the offense, he is just running the offense Mike Tomlin likes to run, where it's like not a lot of massive explosive plays, not a lot of throws down the middle. It's a lot of throws to the sidelines, a lot of check downs, a lot of curl routes. But he got some plays down the middle of the field there in the third, fourth quarter. And I was like, whoa, Justin Fields. There it is. This is what I thought. This is what I was picturing when I said maybe the Bears shouldn't trade you. And that I thought you were really good. So really happy for Justin Fields balling out for the Steelers. I don't think Russell Wilson will ever start a game in Pittsburgh, barring a Fields injury. I think Fields is kind of the guy now. And I think they're going to probably see how far. If they win 9 games this year, I think he'll just be their franchise guy. I think they're like, hell yeah, we got our guy. Just great for Fields and great for the Steelers. Glad it could work out. I mean, he's playing really well for them. How did the Broncos beat the Buccaneers? This last Sunday just had some weird results. We had the Broncos beating the Buccaneers. The Saints lost to Philadelphia in a weird game. Such a weird game. It was 3-0 in the fourth quarter. It is that Saints offense just completely petered out. Maybe it'll bounce back next week against the Falcons. But what happened against Philadelphia? It's not like the Philadelphia defense is that good. Such an odd game. It looked like the Saints were going to march back down the field and win, and then Cooper DeJean got a game-sealing interception. I don't. So odd. And then the Broncos just decimated the Bucs. Absolutely decimated them. And I don't understand how that happened either. It was really odd. So just a weird week in results overall, just across the league. Just weird stuff happened. So the Lions beat the Cardinals. It was a very entertaining game. I think if you didn't watch, you would underestimate how well the Cardinals played if you just looked at the final score or you looked at your fantasy team. Goff had, I believe, 1 interception. I don't think he threw 2. I think he just had the 1. It was a pretty bad one. He just directly threw it to the Cardinals. But yeah, the Lions beat Cardinals. The Cardinals look good. The NFC West is interesting to me because that Niners year from hell that I was a little concerned about is starting to form, and the Rams coming back last week, even with everybody's talking about Juwan Jennings, how well the Niners played. You would think that they won. No, they lost. They lost to the Rams, and yeah, I think that Rams team shouldn't have won that. So it's the Rams and Niners are both I'm not sure what to think you every week. And the Cardinals are the one I'm confident in. And then you get the Seahawks, who are 3-0, and I didn't even realize. They were hyping up Monday Night Football next week. Another stupid doubleheader. Why are we doing a doubleheader Monday night again? Especially when anyone with a brain cell is going to watch Lions versus Seahawks over Dolphins versus Titans. Even if Tua was healthy. Lions versus Seahawks, so much more interesting. Given the Seahawks are 3-0. So everybody's going to be kind of tuning in, probably the first Seahawks game they've watched all year. And they're like, okay, what is going on? Why are they 3-0? But yeah, did you realize the Seahawks were 3-0? If you're not a Seattle Seahawks fan, would you have realized, unless I just told you they were 3-0? I did not. I didn't even put that together. No one, I haven't seen anybody talking about it. They got the new coach, 3-0. Okay. So yeah, NFC West, very interesting at the moment. I'm not prepared to give my Seahawks take until I actually have watched a full game of them, which I will next Monday. So there we go. I got to admit, I was so wrong about Patriots versus Jets. My goodness, was I incorrect. So I made the mistake of when I was talking to somebody about the Panthers last week. I was like, I told you guys this team wasn't that bad. We just, we're not the worst roster in the league. I said the worst roster in the league is probably the Commanders. I should have said Patriots because the Commanders balled out last night. So I guess the Patriots are probably the worst roster on paper. I don't think the Panthers are. I honestly think the Panthers can win some more games. I think we're going to be interesting this year. There's just a lot of unsure. It's such a weird spot to be in. Let's say we go to the playoffs with Andy Dalton. It's okay, I know we're not winning the Super Bowl, and I'm glad we're trying to win, but it's what's next year look like? Do we try to rehab Bryce Young? I would like for Bryce to be the franchise. I'm getting caught up and talking about the Panthers again. We were talking about Patriots versus Jets. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers played like Aaron Rodgers. The Jets looked like the team we all thought they were going to be preseason. Or maybe you didn't think that, but I thought that. If you remember episode 101, I was big. I was thinking they were going to, rock and roll. And then the Patriots, oh my gosh, it was rough. And then they put Drake May in randomly. I didn't understand that. So I think Drake's going to be really good. I do. If we remember, I believe I gave my rookie quarterback rankings. Didn't I give my rookie quarterback rankings episode 101? Didn't I do that? Because I thought I said 1 was JJ if he was going to play, 2 was Drake May, 3 was Caleb Williams, 4 was Jaden Daniels, 5 was Bo Nix. That's what I had. And at the moment, the only thing I would change is I'd put Jaden Daniels 3 and Caleb Williams 4. It's the only thing I'd shift. I still think Drake and JJ will be the best too. A lot of it is just because where JJ's going. A lot of it's where Drake's going. I think Gerard Mayo's got the Patriots ahead of schedule. I think they're playing kind of decent. And then they got smacked by the Jets. But I do think Gerard's doing a good job so far. I've been low-key closely watching the Patriots. I kind of check in on them every Sunday because I'm curious. And I think there's a world where they get Travis Hunter in the draft. And there's just really interesting Drake's second year. Drake May has only started 3 or 4 games this year. Maybe 5, who knows. And then next year he's officially the starter. And you hear stuff from off-season training camps. It's oh, Drake May and Travis Hunter are best friends. They hang out and, they play ping pong against each other. And Drake doesn't leave until he, Drake won't leave the ping pong table until he's beat Travis 5 straight times or something crazy. You know what I mean? It's something stupid. I don't know. I feel like that's on the table for next year. And that would be very interesting. And Travis Hunter's playing both sides. He's playing corner and wide receiver for them. He's a lead at both. If you're a team that thinks you're going to have him play both ways, honestly, I don't see how he's anything other than the number 1 pick. Because an elite wide receiver would be a top 5 pick, and an elite corner would be a top 5 pick. We've seen them both go top 5. We've seen an elite corner go 3 recently. Now, granted, Jeffrey Okudah ended up being really bad in the NFL. I don't know what happened, but he was really bad. But we've seen, I guess, have we seen a wide receiver go top 3 recently? I don't think we have. No, we've seen 4, though. Marv was 4. I don't think we've seen top 3, though, recently. Because 2022, Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, and 3 was Derek Stingley. Well, there's a corner that was an elite corner that's really good. Went 3 in the draft. There you go, Derek Stingley. You're making up for Jeffrey Okudah being bad. I don't know what happened to Jeff Okudah. He was so good. Yeah, I'm going to look up highest drafted wide receivers last 10 years, right? Just recently. All right, here we go. This Reddit post on r/NFL. Wide receivers drafted in the first 10 picks by pick number. Okay, since 2000. Here we go. No wide receivers ever went number 1 since 2000. Since 2000, we've had 2 guys go second. Calvin Johnson, obviously. Yeah, Megatron's crazy. Yeah. Charles Rogers. I didn't know who that was. I had to Google him. So that kind of states that. Did he have good numbers? Am I just not aware? Oh, he only played in the NFL 3 years. Oh, goodness. He was also drafted by the Lions, though. He was the 03, 04, 05. So 03 draft. He was not good. Did he just have injuries? Oh. Well, he was consistently suspended. Huh. Might have to go to his Wikipedia page. What was he suspended for? Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. He developed an addiction to opioids. Wow. Oh my goodness. Guys, he died when he was 38 of liver failure. He had cancer and was in need of a liver transplant. This is sad. I just randomly fell upon this. This guy was the number 2 pick in the NFL draft, 2003, from Michigan State. Now, some of you who are older might remember this very clearly, and you're like, wow, Ryan, this is the first time you heard about this. But you got to think, this guy was drafted in the 2003 draft. I wasn't even born yet. This is new to me. What? This is terrible. Huh. So he was suspended because he was smoking weed. He had marijuana testing, and that's why he was suspended a lot. And he said in a 2009 interview with ESPN that his hard living contributed to his downfall in the NFL. And in 2008, he was arrested and charged with assault and battery of his girlfriend. The charges later dropped. Then in December 2008, Rodgers was sentenced to attend a drug court or face jail time after violating his probation. 2009, he was jailed for violating his probation. Then later in 2009, he was arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol after the police found him unresponsive. Wow, this is wild. It's so crazy because it's him and Calvin Johnson are the only two. And obviously Calvin Johnson has like an insanely good career in Detroit. And it's like, that's so weird. It's like inverses. That's so odd. Yeah, so 4 years later, Detroit with the number 2 pick takes Calvin Johnson from Georgia Tech. And obviously he's one of the greatest receivers of all time. Wow. Huh. That's just crazy. Huh. All right, well, feels weird just continuing now, but back to it. The 3rd pick, we've had Braylon Edwards, Larry Fitzgerald, and Andre Johnson. 4th pick, Amari Cooper, Sammy Watkins, A.J. Green, Peter Warrick, and Marvin Harrison Jr. And then 5th, Jamar Chase, Corey Davis, Justin Blackmon. So no one's ever went one out of the wide receivers since 2000. My argument would be if Travis Hunter is going to play both sides of the ball, that's so much value. You're getting two for one. Like he should go one. So that'll be interesting once draft comes because they're like, watch it still be Shador, right? And it'd just be like, what? You know what I mean? Like it'll also depend who has the number 1 because if the Patriots have the number 1 pick, they'll probably take Travis Hunter and he'll play both sides of the ball and it'll be crazy. If the Giants have number 1, they'll probably take Shador Sanders. So that's kind of how it is. You know what I mean? It'll just depend on what everybody needs. All right. What do we really think of Caleb Williams? He's not played well, but I do think a lot of it's that Bears O-line. I guess my thing was I was a little annoyed by how much hype they were getting. Everybody was like, oh, look at the Bears. Look what they went out and did. They fleeced the Panthers, and they got this good defense, Montez Sweat, and they went out and got Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze. And like, is this the best rookie quarterback situation of all time? Ryan Pauls deserves all the credit in the world. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, let's wait and see. And here they are, 1-2. Now, granted, that's the same record as my Panthers. But they probably should be 0-3. They didn't really play that well against Titans, but they somehow won that game. We'll see on Caleb Williams. I do think it's pretty early to tell. But this is my official PSA to everyone on planet Earth. And this specifically goes out to every network that broadcasts the National Football League. So that's Fox, CBS, NBC, ABC, and ESPN. Just want to talk to you personally. When a rookie quarterback performs poorly, we are officially not allowed to pull up rookie Peyton Manning stats. I am sick of it. I am tired of it. Because that's what they do every time. And you're going to see it, the next primetime Caleb Williams game. It'll say, have some graphic that's like first year struggles or early career jitters. And it'll have Caleb Williams numbers that aren't good. And then they'll be like, oh, but look at this. Peyton Manning numbers. And they weren't very good. Oh, my. Da-da-da-da. Peyton Manning is the exception to the rule. These guys who start off and are bad are most likely not going to become Peyton Manning. Now, granted, can they improve? Yes, Trevor Lawrence did improve. Now he's back to being bad, but he did improve and have a year or two where he was pretty good. But most of these guys are not Peyton Manning. They did that for Bryce Young. They're doing that for Caleb Williams. Stop it. Quit it. It's my official PSA. Stop doing that because they're probably not Peyton Manning, and it's just stupid. I'm so sick of it. Stop it. All right, it's time for Josh Allen glazing. Oh my gosh, guys! Last night watching Josh Allen play, it's It is honestly incredible. The Bills have become a team that I used to kind of hate on to becoming kind of my favorite team to watch probably at this point, because obviously one of my good friends, Braden, huge Buffalo fan since he was a little kid, and then with Genevieve being a big Bills fan, I watch them for her too, so I've really grown a fondness to them that I used to kind of hate on, and now I really, really, really do enjoy them. And oh my gosh, guys, we talked about last couple weeks how I think it's Mahomes his own tier, Allen his own tier, and then like Lamar, CJ Burrow. I think Allen's closer to Mahomes than he is Lamar. Allen is, and I know everybody's like, oh, Lamar's rushing. Anybody who watches Josh Allen can tell you he's a better runner than Lamar. Now, Lamar might put up better rushing numbers. He might have more total attempts. But when it's 3rd and 11, I want Josh running it, not Lamar. That's just how it is. So far this season, I'm just going to say this. Every time I say Josh Allen's second best in the NFL, Genevieve's like, no, he's the best. I'm like, well, Genevieve, you are a little biased. I texted her last night. I was like, you're probably right. Because there is no doubt in my mind that so far this season, he has played better than Mahomes. Now, Mahomes is still number one. He's got 3 Super Bowls, given the history, right? It's kind of like how Burrow hasn't really played the best this year, but he's still top 5 because we've seen him. I mean, there was a period there Joe Burrow was like the second best quarterback in the NFL, right? We're not going to all of a sudden throw history away and, jump to wild conclusions. But Genevieve is right in saying the best quarterback in the NFL so far this year, Josh Allen, has been that. He has been playing the best in the league. That's why this episode's titled after him. That's why he's the thumbnail. He has been the best quarterback in the NFL this week. This week, goodness. So far in the 2024 season, Josh Allen has been the best in the NFL. And I got to admit, I was completely wrong to say that the Bills, weren't going to be a playoff team. Like I said earlier, I think they're one of the 4 teams I could see winning it. I love the way they did their rebuild. I was wrong. It's not really a rebuild. It was a Josh Allen is so good he can elevate talent thing, just like the Chiefs have been doing with Mahomes. That's what they've done with Josh Allen, and he completely has stepped up into that role, and he's actually playing, I think, the best football of his career. Last night, he became the favorite to win MVP, and I do think this is his year to win it. To me, he has been consistently a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, and he doesn't have an MVP, and I do think he wholeheartedly deserves it. And if he keeps playing like this, he should be the MVP. I mean, if this Bills team gets 12 wins, I think it's better than some people expected. And this defense has been so good this year. Credit to Sean McDermott. I think a lot of people were thinking this is going to be a hot seat potential year for him. And right now they look like, I think they look better than the Chiefs look. I honestly think they look like the best team in the NFL at the moment, being honest. Maybe this is the year for Buffalo. And I know you're probably gasping because I've never, ever, like in the history of this podcast, for long-time listeners, so like my mom, basically. If you're a long-time listener and I don't know you personally, I got to let you know I wholeheartedly appreciate you. I don't know how you even found this, but I appreciate the fact that you listen. If you have never met me personally and you listen to this podcast, that is just an insane thing to me that I never would have expected. So I appreciate that. If that person exists. If I'm talking to no one right now, I guess I'll stop talking. But if you do exist, that person out there who doesn't know me personally and listens to this podcast, I really appreciate it. But longtime listeners know I've never, ever said the Bills could win the Super Bowl, really. Or at least predicted that. I've always been like, oh, but the Chiefs will take them. I'm going to be honest. They look like the best team in football. Josh Allen is playing like the best quarterback in football. He deserves the MVP. He probably will win the MVP. He should win the MVP. And I was wrong to doubt him. And, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. They're going to play the Ravens on Sunday Night Football, and they're going to destroy them. And everybody's going to be like, whoa. Whoa. And the Ravens are going to be 1-4. Let's be like, wow. So, that's my thoughts. Then after that, they play the Texans. And it's like they could be they're in a stretch right now where they're going to play the Ravens, then the Texans, and then is it the Chiefs after that, or is it the Dolphins? they're in a tough stretch here. And it's like, let me look at it real quick. Yes, they play the Ravens, the Texans, the Jets. That's their next 3. If they end that stretch and they're 6-0, like, come on. Come on. And they probably will. I honestly foresee that happening. I don't see them losing any of those games. The Texans is the only one that I'm like, maybe. But even then, the Bills just look like the best team in the NFL. And I couldn't be happier for them. So I was completely wrong. I'm very happy for Genevieve, very happy for Braden. So congrats to you guys. And it's a very fun team for me to tune in for. All right. Let's get into the marquee matchups. So at 1 p.m. this Sunday, marquee matchups, I got Vikings at Packers. Not exactly the most interesting quarterback battle because it's Malik Willis versus Sam Darnold. But an interesting look at these two coaches and how they're taking quarterbacks that aren't really supposed to be their starters and playing well with them. One team undefeated, one team 3-1. A Packers team that has more wins without Jordan Love than with. Sorry, 2-1, my bad. 2-1. They're 2-0 with Malik Willis and 0-1 with Jordan Love. That doesn't mean anything. It's just funny that that's the way that worked out. It would be really interesting if the Packers handed them their first loss. So just watch out for that. Eagles at Bucks. This is interesting because the Eagles have been playing, they played the Saints last week. Now they play the Bucks. So another NFC South matchup for the Eagles. I don't know if anybody would be that shocked if either team won this game, but I think it's still worth giving a look. I would put Panthers versus Bengals as a marquee matchup, but I feel like that's a little, it's my show. I'm actually, okay, Eagles versus Bucks is not interesting in my mind. I'm being serious. I think the Bucks should absolutely destroy them. I don't think this Eagles team is fun to watch at all either. So I'm just, because I don't think Sirianni's good at all. So the only reason you watch Eagles Bucks is for Baker. So I'm taking that game out. I'm doing Panthers versus Bengals. So marquee matchups for this Sunday, 1 p.m., Vikings at Packers. And then I think Bengals are at Panthers, I want to say. I think it's a home game. Let me check. Maybe we'll actually have some fans there now. Yeah, it's at Bank of America. Okay. So maybe the Panthers actually have some fans there now. And yeah, that's watch Bengals versus Panthers. It's more interesting. Okay. 4 p.m., obvious one here. It'll probably be America's Game of the Week. Chiefs versus Chargers. Harbaugh's first time against Mahomes. I expect him to win this. Just want to state. I expect Harbaugh to be locked in. He wants to beat Mahomes his first time against him. Maybe this is finally when he'll let Herbert, make some big plays. Maybe. We'll see. Primetime picks. Thursday Night Football. Giants versus Cowboys. We're taking the Giants. Why? Because it's funny. That's why. I honestly think they could, too. I don't think this Cowboys team's that good. I also think it'd be really funny. So, yeah. Sunday Night Football, Bills versus Ravens. I already said I had the Bills winning this. Monday Night Football, Dolphins versus Titans. The Titans should win this. But I'm going to take the Dolphins. Just some bullshit will happen and they'll somehow win. Like they'll get Tyreek on like a in route that's like 5 yards away from the line, and then he just explodes for like an 85-yard touchdown. And they win. I don't know. I don't see this Titans team winning on Monday Night Football. Lions versus Seahawks. I think the Lions and the Seahawks their first loss of the year. If they don't, I think a lot of people will kind of be like, whoa, wait a minute. What is happening here with the Seattle team? What? They're 4-0 and they just beat the Lions on Monday Night Football. Whoa. Lions should be wearing their black uniforms. That will be awesome. Dan Campbell, very famously, obviously couldn't wait to bring those back, and they said you can when you win a playoff game. So I think it was that or when you win the division. It was one of those two. Either way, it's going to be really fun. Yeah, I think that's everything for this week. A couple things. Haven't started the Penguin show yet. Gonna watch first episode some point this week. Very excited for that. Still reading The Stand. I think I made it to page 300. So since June, I've been reading it. I've only read 300 pages. Not exactly my best work. I go through periods where, I read it for a couple straight days, and then I don't read it for a week, and I just kind of bounce in and out. But I'm very much enjoying it. After this, I'm not sure what I want to read next. I might reread The Hobbit. It's been a while since I reread The Hobbit. But I'll probably do some comic books and then go back and reread The Hobbit. What else do I need to address? Oh, I watched Transformers 1. I really liked it. Thought it was great. Hope it makes more money than it is. I mean, is it as good as the Lego movie or Across the Spider-Verse? No, it's not that level, but I would say like the tier below that. So like animated masterpieces, right? That's like Shrek 2, Megamind, Lego movie, Across the Spider-Verse, masterpieces, right? Then you got really good ones. That would be I shouldn't say that. People will get mad at me. I think like How to Train Your Dragon's really good. I don't put it on like the level of like a masterpiece. That's where I'd put Transformers 1. There's going to be a lot of people really angry with me. But as we addressed earlier, I think most people that listen to this podcast know me. So I don't know why that's a good thing. If there's a lot of people mad at me and they know me personally, that just means there's a higher chance they beat my ass. Oh, man. Well, it's too late. Granted, I edit this. I could take this part out. Yeah, it'll be fine. Anything else? Oh, yes, of course. We're gonna be on the lookout. We're gonna have another podcast some point this weekend. That's gonna be MLB playoff predictions. I'm bringing on Andy and RJ, so RJ will be making his return. I don't know if you guys remember, Andy came on last year for the baseball predictions also, so that was very fun. Gonna have them both on. Andy is the biggest MLB fan I have met in my entire life. He watches every Guardians game. He knows so many baseball guys, and RJ also knows baseball. These guys know baseball way better than I do. I really enjoy the MLB, but I think it's become very clear I've become an NFL guy. They know baseball very well, like very well. So very excited to have them on. They're going to probably cook me when it comes to the ball knowledge, and we'll probably all end up having the same World Series winner, which I think you guys know is going to be the Guardians, but it's going to be a great time. Can't wait to do that. And then I will see you all, just me and you. We'll talk again Tuesday. So Tuesday's kind of become the day I record this. So you and I will talk again Tuesday. Enjoy Thursday Night Football. Make sure you root for the Giants because it's not really funny when the Cowboys win. It'd be really funny if the Giants beat them. Malik Neighbors will make some crazy play. What if Malik Neighbors just recreates the OBJ catch? Like, that would be... you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of happens. That would be insane. Like, he just, you know what I mean? Anyways, I like how he's single-handedly giving people like a reason to watch the Giants. He's the only reason anyone's interested in the Giants. It's genuinely Odell Beckham all over again. He's just like this LSU receiver. It's the only reason to watch the Giants. Anyways, that's all from me. Very excited to do MLB predictions. I'll probably have them on every week as long as it works out with their schedules. Probably should. I pretty much see them every day. So we'll probably do for every round of the playoffs. So we'll do whole playoff predictions. Then we'll come on during the DS and be like, wow, we were wrong about this. Oh, the Tigers played great. Da da da. Then we'll do one for the pennant, and then we'll do the World Series. It'll be great. We'll say, if the Guardians win the World Series, it might be a couple days before we record the podcast where we're celebrating, as I think we will spend the next couple days just absolutely partying for the Guardians. So then there's that. That's all from me. See you all next week twice. One, just the two of us, and one with Andy and RJ joining in for the fun. All right. Thank you all. Hope you're having a great time with whatever you're doing. We're getting that good fall weather. It's like really cloudy outside right now. And I'm like thinking about, I might have to put on a sweatshirt later. And you got to love it. All right. Catch you all in the next one. Thank you. This is perfect reading book weather. So maybe I can take advantage of that, you know? All right. Bye.